Good day, world. This is Maria Liberati, and welcome to my podcast, The Maria Liberati Show, where food meets art, travel, and life. Lots of recipes, culinary stories, travels, and more from my Gourmand World award-winning book series and blog, The Basic Art of Italian Cooking. I can officially be called a Philadelphia Italian market baby. You see, I was inspired early on at the age of 4 by my shopping trips to the Italian market in Philly with my grandfather to get fresh breads, cheeses, pasta, vegetables, and fruits for our large, unforgettably flavorful Sunday dinners. Fast forward to a trip to Italy for my modeling career that became a 20-year life-changing experience that included learning old world winemaking, cheesemaking at my family's vineyards and farm, studying the culinary arts, truffle hunting, having my portrait done by a famous Italian artist, working with some remarkable Italian chefs, doing culinary programs at some of Italy's most beautiful resorts and vineyards, creating my book series and trademark, appearing on Italian TV, and having my blog about Mozart featured in the National Museum of Vienna, Austria. And my 300,000 blog subscribers can attest to all this. I'm looking forward to having you as a special guest during my podcast with other interesting, fun, and entertaining special guests where we will be making a connection through food. Welcome to the Maria Liberati Show, where food meets art, travel, and life. So what does food mean to you? Well, first I have to say happy Memorial Day, since this weekend is Memorial Day, and I'm sure everyone knows that, or it's Memorial Day in the States. Of course, for those that live in other parts of the world, it's not Memorial Day, but you might want to do a food celebration to celebrate Memorial Day in your own way. And I'm going to talk about some of our traditional foods for Memorial Day. But first, I do want to tell you about this week's special guest. I have Neely Powell, and she is the founder of a shoe company called Charleston Shoe Company. However, they also now have apparel and accessories, but their shoes are known for being ultra comfortable and also very stylish, which is usually difficult to find both. They are, and you'll want to listen to how Neely brings back the shoes, how she actually had the shoes designed in Mexico, and all about starting the company. And then we have the founder, one of the founders of a blog called trekkingthedream.com. He travels the world with his family, and they go to some really interesting places and they blog about it. And he's going to tell us how he travels with a family of 4 and also some of the interesting places that they travel to. But before we get into the interviews, I wanted to share some interesting facts about Memorial Day with you that you may not know, and I just wanted to share some facts. So originally, Memorial Day was known as Decoration Day, and it originated after the Civil War as a day to honor and remember fallen soldiers by decorating their graves with flowers and flags. So that's where the title Decoration Day comes into play. The holiday was officially recognized as a federal holiday in 1971 by the Uniform Monday Holiday Act. And unlike Veterans Day, which celebrates all military personnel, Memorial Day specifically commemorates those who died while serving the United States. Who is the founder of Memorial Day? General John A. Logan, a Union Army general during the Civil War. He played a crucial role in advocating for solemn remembrance. And as the commander-in-chief of the Grand Army of the Republic, Logan called for a national day of remembrance for fallen Civil War soldiers in 1868, which became the basis for Memorial Day. Memorial Day occurs annually on the last Monday of May. The specific date varies between May 25th and the 31st, depending on the calendar year. Historians believe that the end of May was strategically chosen to ensure that spring flowers would be in full bloom across the country. Many Americans also associate Memorial Day with the unofficial start of summer. Here's some flag etiquette for you. On Memorial Day, the American flag should be flown at half-staff from sunrise until noon. Afterward, they should be raised briskly to the top of the staff until sunset in honor of the nation's battle heroes. In 1996, the Clinton administration created the National Moment of Remembrance to remind Americans of Memorial Day's significance. It encourages a moment of reflection and gratitude for those who made the ultimate sacrifice. And certainly Memorial Day is a time for gathering with family and friends, often around the grill or picnic table. So since we're all about food at the Maria Liberati Show, I could not skip going over what are some of the traditional Memorial Day foods that you can enjoy during your celebration. Of course, most of you that live in the States know this already, but for those of you that live somewhere else in the world and want to know more about Memorial Day, here are the traditional foods served on Memorial Day. Grilled T-bone steak. So you fire up the grill and cook some flavorful T-bone steaks. A homemade spice rub with salt, paprika, black pepper, garlic powder, brown sugar, onion powder, and cumin adds a ton of flavor to those juicy cuts. Then there's a macaroni salad. Now there's this Hawaiian macaroni salad. I don't know if anyone's ever heard of this, but it's creamy, tangy, and it's slightly sweet. It's a classic pasta salad that features chopped celery, shredded carrots, and green onions. It's a refreshing side dish that pairs well with grilled meats. Grill fried chicken. So it's crispy chicken cooked on the grill. Less mess, same great taste. The chicken is tender and flavorful, which is definitely going to make it a hit for your Memorial Day cookout. Here's a great salad to have, something that's interesting but so refreshing, a watermelon feta orzo salad. So you might not think of this as a traditional, but with the red and the white in the salad, it definitely is. And if you want to throw in some blueberries, you have a red, white, and blue salad. A cool and refreshing salad that combines sweet watermelon with salty feta cheese. It's a great addition to any barbecue-centric menu. Of course, kebabs and grilled veggie skewers. You skewer up your favorite vegetables, maybe bell peppers, zucchini, mushrooms, and onions. Marinate them first in a balsamic dressing and grill them to perfection. Of course, there's also kebabs where people grill meats on skewers, or you can have cubes of meat alternated with cubes of vegetables. Of course, you can also do the veggie meats and make it a vegetarian grill. What's a traditional dessert for Memorial Day? Well, of course, there's blueberry pie, blackberry pie. For dessert, indulge in a flaky butter crust filled with juicy blackberries. Serve it with a scoop of ice cream or a dollop of whipped cream. But remember, Memorial Day is not only about delicious food, but also about honoring and remembering those who made the ultimate sacrifice for our country. Embark on a culinary journey with Maria Liberati's The Basic Art of Italian Cooking book series. Discover the secrets of Italian cuisine and bring the art of Italian cooking to your home. Awarded the Best Italian Cuisine Book in the USA by the Gourmand World Book Awards, book series is available now at marialiberati.com, at artoflivingprimamedia.com, on Amazon and Kindle, and anywhere books are sold. Today, my special guest is Neely Powell. Neely has this wonderful company. It's the Charleston Shoe Company. And she's going to tell us a little bit about it, but she's going to tell us also what it's like for her as a woman having her own business and her inspirations, and just share some tips and things with us about that. Neely, thanks so much for being with us today.
Thank you, Maria, for having me.
Sure. So tell us I know you just told me that whole story, which I did not know. So obviously you're an entrepreneur because are you considered, are you the CEO then of the Charleston Shoe Company?
I am. I am.
Okay, yes. So you're the CEO of the Charleston Shoe Company. But tell us your inspiration. I know you were telling me a little bit about your background. I'm sure everybody will be interested.
Yeah. So I like to say I'm a 25-year overnight success as I started this business when I was a teenager.
Uh-huh.
I grew up with two very entrepreneurial parents. My dad was actually in the restaurant and hotel business.
Uh-huh.
And I watched him build these amazing restaurants and a hotel and grew up in that life of experimenting with shampoos and menus. And my mom had a furniture business,
Uh-huh.
which she started as well. And when I was a child, I grew up in a not only in the Keys and in Memphis, but her business was based out of a small town in Mexico called San Miguel, an
Uh-huh.
artist community. And I met my cobbler there when I was a teenager, and I started bringing his shoes back and selling them from my mom's furniture markets to women
Uh-huh.
walking around with uncomfortable shoes on. So that's how the journey began. And I've pivoted a million times and reinvented the wheel 100 times. And I opened my first retail store about a decade later
Uh-huh.
in 2010. And now we have 25 stores around the country.
Oh, wow. Where are the stores based out of? Are there any on the East Coast? Because I'm based on the East Coast. I mean, I do travel around, but on the East Coast, I'm not sure if I've seen them. So are they
So
on the East Coast yet?
So I'm based out of Charleston, South Carolina, hence the
Yes.
name. I went to Savannah College of Art and Design for shoe design, so
Oh,
I have a
wow.
store there. I
Uh-huh.
have 8 stores in Florida,
Uh-huh.
um, 5 in the Northeast, like Nantucket, Martha's Vineyard, the Cape, the Hamptons,
Uh-huh.
and then 5 in Southern California.
Oh, wow. Really nice. A lot of really nice places too. That's great.
I
So,
always, I always say I'm going to have to go to the stores
yeah.
eventually, so I need to put them in good places.
Oh, yes, definitely. That sounds like they're all in great places. So, I guess, and how long did it take before you got before you put together your own retail stores?
Well, I wholesaled the line of shoes that I found in Mexico for about a decade. So from the
Uh-huh.
late 90s until 2010.
Wow.
Back when comfort was a bad word in the late
Yes,
90s, no one even knew what that meant. So
exactly.
I started creating this brand, kind of with all the old shoe dogs and I finally tried to reinvent the wheel and I went into retail instead of wholesale, and that's when the magic started happening and retail became just an amazing kind of viral success with the shoes across the South.
Wow. So I know you told me you went to the Savannah College of Art and Design. Do you come up with the designs or you do come up with the designs?
I do, yes.
Yeah, because
I'm
they're I was just going to say they look I haven't tried mine yet, but I know I will be, but they look really comfortable, which is wonderful, but they're beautiful also. They're really nice.
They are magically comfortable. I mean, it never gets old after 27 years of watching women try them on for the first time.
Uh-huh.
Um, they're not only magically comfortable, but they've got this very European flair to them, and they
Yes.
make every foot look small and charming, and it just has an incredible design. We like to say it's like Spanx for your feet,
Oh, there you
because
go.
it holds everything in and it's really comfortable, and the whole shoe, even our espadrilles, go in the washing machine. So
Oh, that's wonderful. That's
yeah,
great. Yeah, I have to say, when I was looking at the website, I was thinking like these look like, because I've lived in Europe. I lived in Europe for a long time. These look kind of like a European. They have like a European feel to them. The look has a European look to them, which is wonderful. Very
and
stylish but comfortable.
if you spill some spaghetti, marinara sauce on them, you just throw them in the washing
Throw 'em in
machine.
the wash. Oh, that's wonderful. That's great. So what would you say your biggest challenge was as a female entrepreneur? Any specific things you can think of?
Well, I think the hardest thing about being a female, and I was raising a child at the time, she was 2 when I opened my first store.
Uh-huh.
Um, but I think you've got to learn to delegate. You really, as as an entrepreneur, you have to trust the people you surround yourself with, and not try to multi manage everyone, and try and really delegate to people that you trust, and let them run with portions of your business, and try things a million different ways. My dad always used to say, there's never a problem. There's problems are only opportunities to make your business stronger. And I think if you don't if you don't believe in that, then it's very hard to be an entrepreneur and wake up every day and face all the ups and downs that you're going to continue to have, not just for the first 5 years, but the last 25.
Exactly. That's really good words to live by, I guess you could say. Definitely. Very good advice. Where do you see you going in, say, the next so many years? Now you have the retail stores. Anything else? Brewing, or are you getting into anything else like handbags or anything else, matching stuff? Or should I not be letting the cat out of the
No,
bag?
no, no. That's great. We during COVID, I had 32 stores going into 2020. Um,
Wow.
and we had to pivot. And
Oh
so we started
yeah.
a clothing and accessory line, just to give our loyal customers, because we have such an amazing following. We
Uh-huh.
really didn't market until after COVID, because all of our customers, they were like the Pied Pipers of our shoes, and they'd send people just on a daily basis.
Right.
So we created a cultural line that really it encompasses everything, and we can give them everything from purses and belts to clothing and jackets, and we also started a nonprofit during COVID called Shoe Joy,
Uh-huh.
because we were giving shoes to nurses on the COVID floors. We gave about $500,000 worth of shoes in 2020, and now over 2 million since then.
Oh, that's wonderful.
Those two things
Wonderful.
have been the most exciting in the last few years. We did start opening new stores. We opened 3 this quarter in South
Uh-huh.
Carolina, and we're expanding into the Caribbean. So
Oh, that's great. Some more great places to go to.
that's right.
Yes. So did COVID slow you down at all with the stores? Did that slow down?
Well, going in, I opened 14 stores in 2019, so that was difficult.
Yes.
My retail footprint was up to 32.
Uh-huh.
I had over 200 female employees then, and I had to furlough the majority of them and close all my stores temporarily. And, one of the reasons I started Shoe Joy was to bring those employees back to work by giving them a job, finding hospitals to donate the shoes to, coordinating the logistics and doing all that. So it allowed us to be inspired and wake up every day and do all the things that seemed important to us.
Exactly. That's wonderful.
Yeah.
That's wonderful, though. It's a good, I mean, everybody needs to learn to, obviously, that was a difficult time for everybody. So somehow you got through it. And a lot of us, did get through it. We learn how to get through difficult times. So that's wonderful that you're still thriving and still going strong. That's wonderful. So, so for the future, you said you're opening more stores in the Caribbean and
Mhm.
you have a line of clothing. And is the clothing and bags and things, accessories, that's on the website also?
It is. It is. There's a much bigger, array of things in our actual brick and mortar stores, but we try and put things on the website.
On the website too. Great. Well, this has been wonderful. So I'm going to say the Charleston Shoe Company is more than a shoe company. It definitely is. It's just a whole bunch of things out there with a nonprofit that you have and all the accessories, and that the shoes are comfortable too. So I can't wait to try my pair also. I'm
Great,
really
Maria.
excited.
Thank you.
And
Yes.
much success in the future with the Charleston Shoe Company. And tell people, are they looking online for just the Charleston Shoe Company, right?
It is charlestonshoeco.com. And that'll show you all of our stores, we sell to about 500 retailers.
Oh,
And we
okay.
also do a very large trunk show business, so you can
Uh-huh.
see all that online as well.
That's great. That's great. Neely, thank you so much for being
Thank
here.
you.
And hopefully we'll have you on in the future to hear more about what's going on.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Thank you. Transform your kitchen into an Italian masterpiece with the basic art of Italian cooking. Savor the flavors, stories, and traditions with every recipe. Celebrate life's special moments Italian style. Get your copy of the Basic Art of Italian Cooking book series, the winner of the Gourmand World Book Awards, and you can get your copy at artoflivingprimamedia.com, at marialiberati.com, on Amazon and Kindle. And there are 3 in the series. There's the Basic Art of Italian Cooking, the Basic Art of Italian Cooking Holidays and Special Occasions, and the Basic Art of Italian Cooking Da Vinci Style. And my special guest today is Tom Hanowski. We're actually going to Scotland today, visiting Tom. He is 1/5 of the blog, Tom, that you told me, called trekkingthedream.com?
Yes, that's absolutely correct. And the other 4/5 are my wife, Katie, my oldest son, Joshua, my middle son, Logan, and my daughter, Willow.
Wow. So Tom has some really interesting stories. Obviously, Trekking the Dream is about travel, and they've gotten to travel to some interesting places and are planning, it sounds like, some more travel to some other interesting places. But I guess, my first thought would be, because a lot of people do travel and don't know how to, or don't have any idea. Should I do a blog? How did you get started doing, or how did you guys decide to start a blog? And how long ago did you start your blog?
Well, we started our blog about 18 months ago now. And initially it was really to help keep friends and family up to date with where we were and what we were doing. And it really became something a little bit more than that when we came back and decided, actually, we want to do this full time. We want to travel more. We want to help others who have ambition to travel as a family and might think, actually, we can't. We know, because we've done it, that almost anyone can travel with a little bit of planning and a little bit of structure. And that's why we are now concentrating much more on the website trekkingthedream.com.
Okay. And tell me, so what was the first place that you wrote about? Was there like the first trip that you decided to, because it sounds like you're blogging about your trips, right? And the experiences at the trips?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, our inspiration for the website and for the blog came really from our plan to travel around the world. We took a year out between 2023 and 2024, and we hit 6 out of the 7 continents and 25 countries over the course of a year. We've written about Brazil, we've written about Peru, we've written about Australia. I think we've got 53 posts on there now, and it's everything from in-depth reviews of particular cities to how to travel your own gap year, or best places to snorkel around the world.
Did you get to take the kids with you when you went all over?
Yes, we absolutely did, and they loved it. That was one of the main drivers actually behind doing it now, because our kids, today they're age 16, 14 and 12, about to turn 13. So when we took them out, it was really the last opportunity to do so without interrupting their exam years. So we're still traveling, but we are now traveling in between term times with a view to travel again full time once the kids are a little bit older.
Well, and it's really a wonderful educational experience for kids, especially traveling that young. That's wonderful. Really an educational experience. So tell us, like, what is, I guess, so you went to all those continents. Was there any place that stuck out, that you really enjoyed, I'd say more, was there? Do you have a favorite?
mean,
It's probably
well,
hard to pick, but
it really is hard to pick, and actually it depends on the day that you ask me. But the
right.
Inca Trail was one of our early long treks. That
Uh-huh.
was 4 days to Machu Picchu.
Uh-huh.
That was absolutely stunning. I mean, we got up to I think it's 14,500 feet over the top of Dead Women's Pass,
Uh-huh.
and you reach the Sun Gate and you're looking down into Machu Picchu, and it's just absolutely stunning. Then, I mean, we did base camp as well. So we hiked from Lukla up to Everest base camp with the kids.
Uh-huh.
That took us just over 11 days. And again, the views are absolutely stunning. They're awesome. They're everything you would expect. And we were really lucky. We got blue sky weather.
Oh, wow.
We
Yes.
snorkeled the Barrier Reef.
Oh,
There's
wow.
lots of bad news about about the Barrier Reef with bleaching events. We saw nothing but positivity while we were out there's a lot of regeneration happening. So although there is a lot of bleaching happening, the reef in some areas is really starting to recover and come back to life again. And
Oh,
I think
that's
it's worth remembering that amongst the bad news stories that come out is there
yes.
is still hope.
Oh, that's great. Yeah, sometimes when there's bad news, it gets really amplified because more people are looking for bad news and good news isn't really that exciting. So, but that's good to hear that there's still some hope for the Barrier Reef. And do you have any? I know we started talking about like, and I'm sure you have interesting stories. I know I do. That was one of my favorite parts. It's one of my favorite parts of traveling. You always meet interesting people and interesting experiences. Any experience you can tell us about? Any stories out there?
Yeah, I mean, I was always maybe surprised is the wrong word, but I was always amazed at how kind people were wherever we were in the world, whatever the circumstances. People would stop and offer to help. I mean, we took a lot of road trips while we were traveling, and there were occasions where the motorhome got stuck. We'd decided we would pull into an unmanned campsite uh, in the motorhome. The campsite was boggy. It had been raining, with the predictable consequence that when we woke up, the van had sunk down into its axles. Now, I had no clue how we were going to get that van moved, but
Uh-huh.
I knocked on the first house. We were right out in the middle of nowhere. This was actually in Norway,
Oh, okay.
and we were in the middle of nowhere, miles away from any towns or cities. So I started to walk back along the track that we followed to find this campsite and knocked on the first door that I could find. That guy had nothing to do with the campsite, but decided that he would help us. He started phoning around, managed to rustle up somebody with a tractor, uh, came down to the campsite, attached the motorhome to the back of the tractor, managed to pull us out. But in the meantime, his wife was entertaining and feeding our kids, because this didn't happen quickly. I mean, this happened over the course of 4 or 5 hours.
Uh-huh.
We were really well looked after. They fed us. They kept the kids entertained. They got the van out. They even helped us clean the van up and tidy it up so that it wasn't in a really bad state when we handed it back. That was just one example. But that was that's obviously in a developed country. Norway is a country where people have more than perhaps you might find in some places in India, for example. We were in one of the less well off areas in Delhi,
Uh-huh.
and we were talking to a family who lived in really, it was tin sheets and boxes that had been arranged into family accommodation. They had a large plastic drum outside where they would wash. We got talking to that family, got to understand a little bit about them, and they invited us. They had very little. They had almost nothing. They invited us in out in the hot sun. They shared some of the very little food that they had with us, and again, that was something which just completely unexpected. gave us a real feeling of humility as well, and humble. Just how kind people can be even when they have nothing.
Yes.
We had examples like that all over the place, and that's just two that spring to mind immediately.
Wow, that's really, really nice. So you mentioned traveling in a motorhome. So do you just do that throughout Europe because you're in Europe, or have you done that in have you rented a motorhome like in other
Yeah.
countries?
So we rented a motorhome in Costa Rica,
Uh-huh.
and that was, I say a motorhome, it wasn't a motorhome. It was a camper van,
Okay.
and it was a camper van that was too small for us, but it was all the more fun for it. So there were two very small. There was a bed in the back of the van itself, which
Uh-huh.
was just about wide enough for 1.5 adults. Well, that was
Uh-huh.
myself and my wife Katie that slept in there, and then there was a rooftop tent that the three kids could just about fit in while we travelled. That was great fun. Took us to all sorts of exciting places, including to the top of a volcano.
Uh-huh.
We spent 5 weeks in a motorhome in Australia. We did Sydney to Cairns.
Uh-huh.
We spent 3 weeks in a motorhome in California.
Uh-huh.
That motorhome was the size of a bus.
Wow.
I had it less than about an hour, and I was stuck in the middle lane of a 5-lane highway,
Oh
thinking,
my.
right, how do I get off this highway? And while I was contemplating how I got off the highway, an Arctic lorry came past me and took my right wing mirror off.
Oh my goodness.
Chunk.
Oh my.
And I'm now stuck in the middle lane without a mirror.
Oh my goodness.
Okay, that's just made my job much harder. So my then 10-year-old daughter acted as my wing mirror, and she was looking out the window for me and telling me when it was safe.
Yes.
I say safe, but safe in inverted commas, to swerve across the lanes and come off. But thankfully, the rental company were really good, and we stopped at their depot in Las Vegas, and they gave us a new van within about 20 minutes. So,
oh, that's great. That's
yeah.
great. But I guess that adds to all of your many travel stories. So, which is great. So, how about what do you do like for food when you get to these places? Do you look for local supermarkets? Do you actually, I mean, if you're flying, it's hard to bring supplies with you. Is that what you do? You
Yeah,
just
we self cater the vast majority of the time. There
yes,
are occasions where we'll stay in a hotel and there might be breakfast included.
yes,
We try not to eat out because with 5 of us, depending on
yes,
what country you're in, that can get really expensive really
expensive.
quickly.
Yes.
Actually, we found even shopping in the supermarkets, we stayed in self catering accommodation while we were in California.
Uh-huh.
And the price of food, it's incredible. We just couldn't believe it. It must be close on double what it was costing us in the UK.
Oh my goodness.
So yeah, that was 5 weeks of thinking, okay, how do we make the most of our budget and make sure the kids are properly sustained on the way around?
Oh yes, yes, yes.
But yeah, there were some really expensive countries, and there are some occasions where perhaps in Thailand, for example, we found that it was almost as cheap to eat out sometimes as it was to go to the supermarket.
Market. Oh wow, that's interesting. So I guess yes, then it just depends in what country you're in, as far as what to do. Well, that sounds all very, very interesting. And unfortunately we're out of time, but I'm going to tell everyone then to go and see more of your travel stories on it's trekkingthedream.com, right? And it's 2 Ks for trekking, right?
That's absolutely right. Yeah, we keep it bang up to date with what we're doing, what we're planning. We add new posts all the time. So yeah, everybody's welcome.
That's wonderful. Yes, I'm sure. And I'm sure you have photos on there too, correct?
Yeah, some wonderful photos.
Great. That's wonderful. Tom, thank you so much for being a guest and maybe, reach out to us in the future I know you're getting ready to do some more travel. So keep us up to date and we can have you on again to talk about your travels, and maybe your wife can come on the next time also.
Yeah, we'll get my wife on, and maybe the kids. Who knows?
Yes, and the kids too. Oh, that would really be fun. We can have the whole five of you then. Or
Okay, lovely to talk to you.
great, lovely to talk to you too, Tom. Great, thanks again, and happy travels.
Thank you. Take care.
Thanks for listening to the Maria Liberati Show, and thanks again to my producer, Britton Roselle, and my special guest this week, and also wanting to wish everyone a happy and healthy and delicious Memorial Day. I hope those suggestions for some interesting traditional Memorial Day foods helped, and if you have a photo of your picnic or a special recipe that you're doing for your picnic, please share it with us and hashtag it the Maria Liberati Show on social media. So you can find me on Instagram at Maria Liberati. You can find me on Facebook at Chef Maria Liberati. You can also find me on Twitter at Maria Liberati. The website for this show is the marialiberattishow.com. You can also find me at marialiberati.com. And let's see, you can also find me on Vimeo at Maria Liberati, and you can find our YouTube channel. Just look up the Maria Liberati Show and you'll see some videos of the podcast that we're doing, but you can also find the podcast on YouTube as well. And you can find more recipes in my Gourmand World book series, The Basic Art of Italian Cooking. And you can find those books on marialiberati.com, on the publisher's website, artoflivingprimamedia.com, on Amazon and Kindle, and anywhere books are sold. And I just want to mention that I will be doing a dinner with Da Vinci. It's a cooking class and a dinner based on my book, The Basic Art of Italian Cooking Style. Actually, The Basic Art of Italian Cooking, Da Vinci Style. And you can register for that if you're in the Newtown, Pennsylvania area. It will be at the Bucks County Community College on June 8th at 11 to 12:30. We're going to have like a lunch celebration, a cooking class, and a dinner, all based on some of Da Vinci's favorite recipes from my book. So you can give Bucks County Community College in Newtown, Pennsylvania a call to register. Registration is limited, or you can just write us at info@marialiberati.com. And, as I always mention, if you have any stories about food or travel that you'd like to share with our audience here, please email at info@marialiberati.com, and someone from our staff will reach out to you to do a Zoom recording of your story. We'd love to have you on. And until next week, happy Memorial Day, and peace, love, and pasta.